this is Charity McKenzie, and this video is going to be on solving any formula for any specific letter. So, for example, let me make sure there we go. So, for example, if I had a problem like, P equals 2L plus 2W. So here's a problem, and we want to solve for, let's say, L. So the directions will tell you, like, solve for L or whatever letter. So you're going to do this process just like you would an equation. Well, it is an equation. You would work the process just like you would if they were numbers and not a lot of letters. So if I want to solve for L, I have to get it by itself. So you always take whatever's added or subtracted away first, and this is a plus 2W, so I'm going to minus the 2W over. Now remember, the P is already there, so you have to keep the P and then minus the 2W from it, and that would equal 2L. So that's basically minusing the 2W from both sides. But you have to be very careful that you write it as P minus 2W and that you don't mess up the order on your subtraction. Then from here, I gotta fix the camera a little bit, excuse me. Then from here, I almost have L by itself, but I have to divide by 2. And there's a lot of different ways that people teach this. But when you have two terms, 1, 2, separated by an add or subtract, the best way is to divide by the 2 on each term. This way you can reduce any of the fractions if possible. If it wasn't possible, you could have done one big line with the 2 underneath, but then that confuses people because they don't remember to reduce and they don't get the problem right. So reduce, and you're going to get P over 2 minus the 1W or just W equals the L or 1L, and you're done. Now, some of them might take the other answer of just 1, 2 underneath in your problem. So it kind of depends on what level and kind of what they expect, but on your problems. Okay, so let me move this up and show you another one that gets a little bit harder. So maybe we have this one people make hard, so I definitely want to show it. 2HW, and let's solve for H. Okay, so we have 2HW, A equals, so the area is supposed to be like a kind of trying to make it look like a real formula. The other one was. So if we're going to solve for H, we have two things being times. How can we get rid of things that are being timesed? We would divide, opposite operations on these. So we're going to actually divide by the 2W at the same time. What we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So over here, I'm going to have A over 2W, but over here, these would cancel and I have H. So if you have 2 or 3 divisions at the same time, if it's just all multiplication on one side, you can do all the divisions at once. Some people try to do one and then the other, and that's where they get a little more confused. So don't make those ones harder than they are. Okay, and then the next thing, let's step it up a little bit more. My next example would be, what if I have maybe a fraction, H, and I have B plus, I don't know, big B. And I want to solve for big B. Oops. I keep going crooked on my video. So this is problem 3. You can't see the 3, but that's okay. So solve for big B. So here's big B way over here. We want to solve for it. Well, there's a couple things. You can start by distributing. That actually ends up giving you about 3 extra steps, but a lot of people are used to just doing that step, so they start there. But really, this whole term is being times here. So I can actually divide by this term over to the A and get rid of it already. So I'm going to divide by 1/2 H. And then I'm going to divide the other side by 1/2 H also. So over here they all cancel to 1. But how do I divide by a fraction? Well, I have to flip it and multiply. I don't want to leave a fraction in a fraction. So I'm going to flip the 1/2 over and make it 2 over 1 times the a over h, which would give you 2a over h. I flipped again that 1/2 and times it by the h, a over h. On this side, you have b plus big B, and you have to solve for big B. Now, all you have left is to minus that positive b over to the other side. Now, remember, this is here first, and you're minusing this over. So you have to keep the 2a over h minus the little b equals the big B. Right? And that's your final answer there. B is solved for. So there's a couple different examples on solving for different variables. Just make sure you do the opposite operation and that you're getting the terms away from the letter you would like to solve for.